This week's adventure is basically just me going camping. Another trip that I was hoping the girls would be able to join me for, but they're working, and I took the week off. Could be a little bit of a damp weekend, I'm not sure. It's been really cloudy since I got back in the state. We are headed up through Granite Falls, up into the Mount Loop Highway area. Common stomping grounds. I've explored the hell out of this area for the last 20 years. Probably you've got some video clips from spots up in here. But trying to conserve fuel, trying to just go have some fun. It's kind of prime time for fly fishing season on these rivers. They're a little bit lower. The fish are congregating in pockets. You can actually access the pockets without risking death. Should be kind of a fun little weekend. So anyway, with all that jabbering aside, I will just get back to driving and start showing you stuff when it actually gets pretty. Talk to you later. This road's definitely seen better days, yeah? Might have to get like a little creative and see if I can do some neat filming instead of just filming from my dash. Get out there and set the camera up and... Oh man. That tree's not still laying in the road, right? That thing's huge. Almost nervous driving past it. One of the things I wanted to do this trip was, of course, fish some of these creeks and small rivers that feed the bigger ones, because it's always fun. This is the bridge that washed out. I'll show you maybe later. The other side of it's pretty much gone. I could get across it in the Jeep, but I'm not going to. So this is Canyon Creek. What sucks about this area is it's a shooting area. It's the end of the road, so it is a utter mess, but it's still kind of pretty terrain. I'm going to go upstream a bit in the morning, see if we can't find a pocket or two to fish. I verified there are fish in this water. But one of the things I want to do is get my guns all sighted in and ready for hunting season. So anyway, that's my firing range you're looking at. Moving around. Messy fire pit, I'll clean it up. And there's the Jeep sitting over there in the shade in the tent space. I always love finding snakes. craziest damn thing. I was standing down here just heating up the water for our dinner and stuff, and I heard all this ruckus coming down the road. Spooked me because, I mean, it was critter sounds, not people sounds. Spun around and looked up, and there was this huge white creature running down the road, and it was so out of place, it took me a minute to even figure out what the hell it was. But, you know, split second, and then of course, you know, why is there a big mountain goat running through the river valley? Tuesday morning. Coffee's been made, twice actually. Read a little bit, then just kind of hanging out. Watched some guy go up this nasty little trail section that closes the road before this bridge. You know, I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it a lot. So you know I had to try that hill I was talking about in my last video, right? My guy climbed it. Man, he was spinning and having to get a run at it. Well, I just went over there, put it in 4 low, disengaged my sway bars, locked my front and rear locker, idled right up the hill, around the little corner, like where he was kind of having a hard time. And then I backed up and went back down it. It was actually really easy. Kind of disappointing, but also kind of awesome. I love this Jeep. Yeah, I was gonna go up and do a little hiking, but instead I got distracted by this spur road, which is now 11 miles deep. It has been a rough little son of a bitch. This is probably the smoothest section of the road so far. It actually got good again. So I figured I'd turn on the camera and show you a little bit of where I'm at, see where we end up. Big old grouse right in the road right in front of us. Don't know if you'll be able to see. There he is. Must have chicks. Like calling. Keep my eyes open. Oh, and a fun patch in the road. How's that for a flock of grouse? I could, like, have a nice dinner right there. 3 of them just sitting in the road. Well, the road ended, finally. It sort of just kind of slowly deteriorated to where I was getting a little sketched out by it. And then we came to that stuff, which pretty much signified the end of the road. The Jeep could make it, but there's no road beyond there. As you can see behind me, it just peters out and disappears. There's a little campsite back at the end, but that's about it. I thought I was going to try to make it up to Pinnacle Lake, but down at the very bottom it says, caution, extremely rough roads, 4-wheel drive vehicle recommended. So far, not as bad as the last road we were on, but it definitely has its moments. Keep going and see where it takes us, I suppose. And that's funny, it's like I look at the road and I look at the camera screen, they're both in my field of vision. And what I see out the window is so much more intense than what you see through the camera. My road just keeps getting narrower and narrower. According to my GPS, though, we're almost the trailhead. I think what we're gonna do is just go ahead and camp by the trailhead. I'm pretty certain the odds of seeing more than one or two other vehicles up here are next to zilch. I can tell people have been up here, but this road was not for the faint of heart. You know, I didn't have to use four-wheel drive, but I definitely had to use all of my suspension. So, anyway, just showing you where we're at. Taking a little stroll after lunch. Taking it slow, though, so I don't get a cramp. Wandering into Bear Lake. A trail friend. Holy shit. I decided I was going to Pinnacle. This trail is relentless. It's like that for only a mile and a half, but it is one brutal mile and a half. Anyway, I'm kind of beat. I'm only halfway there. See you at the lake. Fucking bugs. Now we break into the subalpine. Still got about quarter to half mile to the lake. Welcome to Pinnacle Lake. Back there in the back there in the background behind me is actually a shoulder of Mount Pilchuck. Anyway, fishing time. Looks like we found Tuesday night's camp. Yeah, don't you love my Hello Kitty blankie? It works, keeps the mosquitoes out. So, this is where we're going to be tonight. It's actually a pretty nice campsite. Sort of hidden. I knew it's here, and lots of people know it's here. But, yeah, I think it'll work out for tonight. Little fire pit, lots of open space. I'm really close to the river, and Tuesday evening finds us well fed. Spaghetti with way too much cheese. Well, and frankly, way too much spaghetti in general. Yeah, I'm really, 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 really full. But just kind of kicking it, enjoying a little bit of a campfire, glass or two of scotch, and of course, you know, the ever-present cigarette. So, probably won't record any more tonight. Just saying good night, and I'll see you in the morning. Good Wednesday morning. It's kind of a little bit wet out here today. Not too horrible. It just started drizzling. To be honest, I'm not even sure when. It didn't wake me up. My window coverings, my nets were all still dry, but there's water on the windshield, and I can hear it out there. I guess I got lucky. I picked a spot where I kind of thought that if it did rain, I would stay dry because I'm under pretty heavy tree cover, and they're big old trees. So yeah, I had a nice camp here, actually. Once I got out of my sheltered little alcove, it truly is a raining out here. I believe this is the road into Calcima. A lot changes when their roads get washed out for a couple of years. Excuse me. We made it to the lake. It's raining pretty heavy though. It's kind of interesting. It's like so overgrown. Of course, parking lot's still here, but all the infrastructure's gone. The bathroom's either buried out there in the bush, but I think it's just they took it out. The sign obviously broke a long time ago. The typical trailhead piece is gone. I can see the holes in the ground where it was. So I did go in and explore the trail to Calcima just a little bit. My first assessment was accurate, and it is a sloppy, muddy mess with a lot of trail repair needed. Pretty little waterfall along the side of the road. But this is pretty awesome when it's like raging. It's this little misty fairyland out there, huh? It is kind of almost like a fairyland. All misty and damp. Can't really see what's going on too far ahead of you. I was hoping I could get up here on top and see out and see how well socked in we are with this storm, but I am in the clouds. So we'll have to go up a little bit higher. There's our Independence Lake trailhead. We are socked in. It's kind of a tough decision whether I should go wander up into these mountains or not. You know, it's this thing when you are up for a day hike and it decides to pour down rain. I mean, who really cares? You're going to get back in the truck, you're going to be soaking wet, you're going to drive back to town, take your clothes off, put on dry ones, wash the wet ones, right? The wet, muddy, slimy, nasty ones. When you still got a few days, potentially, of your camping trip left, do you go get soaked and muddy and know that you're not going to be able to thoroughly dry those clothes unless the sun just happens to come out? This is one of the few alpine lakes I was able to take my mom and dad along with Zyra to. One of my favorite little fishing rivers. It is likely going to be treacherous as hell today, but we're going to see if we can't figure out how to get out there without falling in and breaking some legs. See if we catch some fish. There's some big fish I've caught out of here as well as lots of little ones, so it should be fun. Started raining on us again. But, you know, short little section of stream, maybe 100 yards of stream, half dozen pockets, 5 fish. 2 of them were in the 9+, so, whatever. keep on rolling up the road, see if we can keep ahead of the storm and keep fishing. Well, good evening. Wednesday night. It has been a wet, muddy, sloppy mess all day. Ironically, it's actually been fairly warm. It's hovered in the upper 60s, low 70s, but humidity's got to be pushing 100%. It is so damp, everything's wet, including me. My clothes feel wet, even the ones that haven't been out in the rain. Man, little biting bugs everywhere. Ow! Evil. Anyway, I'm going to get away from these no-see-ums, because that's what they are. I can barely see them, and they bite like a son of a bitch when they land on me. Make myself some dinner. Maybe do a little bit of fishing, because once you get down on the river, the bugs let up. Rain, 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 and more rain. Just doesn't end. Well, good Thursday morning. Just standing here, making myself some breakfast. Rained most of the night, off and on. It's hard to tell when it stopped raining and when it just became, drips falling from the trees. It all sounds about the same. Makes about as wet and nasty of a difference. Anyway, I'm gonna have my oatmeal, my coffee, and then I'm gonna go see what's happening down in that river behind me. Well, that there looks like a good little fishing pocket, huh? These rocks are all super wet and slippery though, so don't be surprised if you don't get any film of fish being caught. I think I'm gonna fish for an hour or two and wander on. Fish don't seem to be too interested in playing with me today. Kind of yelling at the camera. Hopefully the audio works. I know that water behind me is crazy loud. River came up a bit overnight. Doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of rain yesterday. Still running pretty clear, so I can see the fish in there. But, they'll rise, they'll look, but they're not taking the bait. Figures, huh, Zyra? When you're not with me, see all sorts of trail friends. An aggressive little Sally. Well, we had one stroke of luck. They were doing some repairs on Road 49, a road I love to get back in here. There's a couple good fishing spots. In fact, I think video before last, we camped at one of those spots. But way back up in here is some good deer hunting, and I would love to do a little bit of scouting. So I was really happy to see they either A, finished the work or the rain drove them out. It kind of looks like a mix of both. Yeah, so we're just kind of rolling down the road. Just had to see if I could capture that little glacier-capped mountain right there. It's just kind of cool with the way that the mists and stuff are drifting around it. Stopped to get a picture of that mountain, and as I hopped back in the Jeep, I heard thump, 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 and I looked up, just as a 3-point buck bounced across the road. Right off into the brush, instantly gone. It was like a glimpse. He didn't even stop to look at me, just ran by. We're at the end of Road 49. It's not super high elevation, but it's this nice little area next to a stream. This is like the very upper reaches of the North Fork of the Sauk River. We're not very far from that mountain that I was filming. It's like on the other side of these trees and the clouds. I can't really show you right now, but that is Sloan Peak. There's a trail over here that goes right up to the base of that glacier. I've never been up it. Tempting, but it's like 8.5 miles and some crazy elevation gain, so probably not going to do that. Why am I stopped again? God, do you ever do anything other than stop, Bryce? Well, Amy here, the Jeep, requested that we find a nice, sunny, dry area so she could dry out a little bit. Me too. So I got all the windows open, letting the air flow through, the bugs fly through. Just trying to get any residual moisture from last night to go away so we can have a nice dry bed tonight. And of course, making coffee. Going on a little stroll. I think there might be a fish in there. It's worth finding out, right? Here's another one I've been slowly working on. I'm not very good at it yet, much like the one I just played. I'm not very good at it yet, but let's give it a try. suppose sitting in the sun playing guitar isn't exactly a typical camping activity. Well, actually it kind of is. Just maybe not a bright red electric guitar with the amp and everything else, but cool little battery-powered amp that Shiloh got me. Fits underneath the bed platform perfectly. Anyway, it was a nice couple hours just sitting there in the sun, warming up, letting everything kind of air out, drinking my coffee, playing guitar. Yeah, now we're going to wander a little further. I don't know where yet. Guess I'll tell you when I get there. Decided to take a little hike. This is an interpretive trail. That green sign that you probably couldn't read basically tells the story about a ranger who worked up here in the 30s. And that was when logging was becoming a pretty big press up into this region. In fact, there's an old abandoned town down below, all of Monte Cristo and stuff, that tied in with both the mining and the logging operations that were going on up here. He preserved this area to keep some of the old growth cedar and whatnot, and just the sort of diversity of forest that comes from that. So decided to go for a walk. It's about 2.5 miles in, so it'll be about a 5-mile trail. Obviously I won't film everything, but thought I'd give you a little bit of an intro, and we'll do little snippets of the trail as we go, and hopefully we catch some cool stuff. Wow, some big trees. Well, dang, should have brought the fishing pole. Took a little side spur off of the main trail, and this is what we find. It's a pretty waterfall. You don't want to see what's off the side. I guess that's about, 1,000 feet straight down. This is the good part too, or I wouldn't be filming. Anyway, just wanted to show you the view. Whew! That was one sketchy little drive I just took. Took a random little spur road off of the White Chuck Road. Never taken it. Looked at my maps. Was surprised I hadn't. It wound back for 23 miles. It was narrow. It was rough. I had cliffs on both sides, both up and down sometimes. Sometimes the up ones were overhanging. It was scary as shit. I'm actually a little nervous. I need to get down. It's beautiful back in here. I'll show you in a second, but I don't want to spend the night this high, and I surely don't want to spend any more time on this side of all of the slide areas that I just drove past. I need to get down. I need to get past those. we'll get down into some lower elevation and camp tonight. Into the road. Thank the gods. Actually not looking forward to going back down there, but we will get back down on the White Chuck, which is kind of a cool river. I'll have to show you some video of it. And then tomorrow I should probably get my muddy truck washed, huh? It's kind of sad. Got bored and had to write on my window. Isn't that a pretty mountain up there? We were just up next to that when I was all complaining about sketchy country. That would have been just behind all the trees and stuff, like a little hill in between us and it. Now we're back down on the bottom. The road's gotten much better. Well, happy Thursday afternoon. I am hiding under my layers from mosquitoes, if you can't tell. Got the mosquitoes and we got the little red biting flies here. Fun, fun, fun. That said, we are sitting down on the White Chuck River. You might be able to hear it a little bit in the background. I'm probably about 100 yards away from it, but it's a pretty aggressive river. And pure white, which is kind of interesting. There's a whole lot of very light-colored rock, chalk deposits, etc. upstream. And it's also fed by 5 different glaciers that I know of for sure. There's probably more. And so you get loess. It's basically rock dust, ground up rocks from the glaciers are going back and forth on them. And that gets washed down, and it's this really, really fine silt, almost sand, but not quite. And the river's just full of it. And so all these beaches look like sandy beaches with big old rocks in them and stuff. It's kind of cool. Happy Friday morning. It's Friday, right? Pretty sure it's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. Which means it's day to go back. So, why am I sitting in the Jeep? There's mosquitoes out there. Lots of them. And these little tiny, tiny little bastards that do things like that. Look at that welt on the side of my face. Ow! We'll go out there in a little bit, make some coffee, and then jump right back in the Jeep and head on out. We're not heading very far, though. We're rolling. Actually, I'll probably just walk. Walking across the road, going to do a little hike on the White Chuck Bench Trail. It is a 6-mile trail. It does go back into some deep country. We're only going to do the first, mile of it, just so that we can kind of explore along the White Chuck, do a little rock hounding, see if we can find any cool crystal, and get you some video of a white river. It's kind of cool, actually. Anyway, for now, I'm going to finish my cigarette, work up some bravery to go face mosquitoes, and then we'll see where the day puts me. Wandering we go. It's a pretty little trail through the forest. I hear the river. So this is the White Chuck. This greenish, grayish, white. It's white. It's just got a little different cast to it too. But a little hard to even tell in the pictures. There are fish in here. It's just not much of a fly fishing river. And that's my thing, so. Alright, well there's the river. About a mile from the Jeep right now. Looks like we may have some weather coming in. The further I get along in this little trail, I find we're not by the river anymore, if you can't tell. Kind of climbing up the side of the mountain. I get wanderlust. Anyway, it looks like we got some dark clouds and some rain coming in. We might head back down here soon. Pretty little walk, though. Well, my prediction of the rain coming in proved to be true. So it just started drizzling a little bit ago. I can see it getting darker and darker up there in the sky, though. We're about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from the truck. I'm going to head back out, and I'm going to make double time and stash the phone. I just prefer not to get wet, and I'm not geared very heavy. This was supposed to be just a little stroll, not a 4-mile hike. Yeah, no, wanderlust, I tell you. So anyway, signing off for now. I'm going to just head back, and we're going to start heading out. I'm going to make one more stop and film one more little bit for you, just because it's something kind of cool where the Sauk and the White Chuck River meet. Other than that, though, this will be a wrap. So talk to you later. So here's what we were actually going to hike in to take a look at, but instead drove around. It's kind of neat right there. So you can see the White River we were camped on last night dumping in by those rapids, and the river coming underneath us is very clear. This is the Sauk River, South Fork, I believe, coming through here. And so right there they kind of dump together and become the Greater Sauk River. It's just kind of neat seeing the two colors of water. You know, one feeding off of all those glaciers, all that loess and stuff, and then these down below, just nice and crystal clear like most Washington streams. All right, well, we're going to call this a wrap for this particular trip, so thank you for joining me. I'm going to wander back to the city and save you the bother of seeing civilization develop. So, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next journey.